The Discovery. The black void of space stretched endlessly in all directions. Captain Vorn stood on the bridge of his research vessel, watching the main screen with growing curiosity. His three eyes focused on the massive shape floating ahead. "Sir, the readings are confirmed," said Tech Officer Rix, his claws clicking against the console. "It is a human military vessel. No life signs detected." Vorn leaned forward in his command chair. The ship before them was enormous, far larger than any alien warship he had ever seen. Its gray hull was scarred with blast marks and deep gouges. Several sections showed signs of explosive damage, yet somehow the vessel remained mostly intact. "How long has it been drifting?" Vorn asked. "Based on the debris field, approximately 6 standard days," Rix replied. "There was a major battle here. We are detecting wreckage from multiple ships." Vorn studied the human battleship carefully. His people, the Galactic Union, had only made contact with humanity 3 years ago. The humans were new to space travel, at least compared to the ancient civilizations of the Union. They were supposed to be primitive, still learning the ways of advanced warfare. But this ship did not look primitive. "What is its designation?" Vorn asked. Rix consulted his instruments. "The name translates to Titan's Fury. It appears to be a human battleship-class vessel." "Prepare a boarding team," Vorn ordered. "This is a rare opportunity. We know so little about human military technology. Command will want a full report." "Sir, is that wise?" asked Navigator Fell from her station. "We do not know what happened here. What if there are dangers?" Vorn waved a dismissive hand. "The ship is dead. All weapons are offline. There is no threat. Besides, when will we get another chance to study human warfare up close?" Within the hour, Vorn led a team of 12 researchers across the void in a transport pod. They docked with one of the battleship's damaged airlocks. The seal hissed as it connected, and the airlock door ground open with difficulty. The interior was dark except for emergency lights that cast everything in red shadows. The aliens activated their helmet lights and moved carefully through the corridors. The walls were scorched black in many places. Bullet holes pocked the metal surfaces. "These impacts," said Engineer Dax, running his scanner over the wall. "They are from kinetic projectiles. The humans still use primitive slug throwers?" "Apparently so," Vorn replied. He found it strange. Most civilized species had moved past such crude weapons millennia ago. Energy weapons were cleaner, more efficient. They reached the first body 15 minutes into their exploration. A human male still strapped into his station chair. His face was peaceful despite the terrible burns across his uniform. The equipment around him was destroyed, melted by some intense heat, yet the human had died at his post, hands still on the controls. "Remarkable," whispered Dr. Lyra, the medical officer. She scanned the body. "He sustained these injuries hours before death. He kept working despite fatal wounds." Vorn felt a chill run through his spine. What kind of species fought while dying? They found more bodies as they progressed deeper into the ship. Some at weapons stations, others in the corridors where they had fallen during repairs. Every single human had died while trying to keep the ship fighting. The bridge was the worst. 7 crew members still at their stations, frozen in death. The main view screen was shattered. Control panels sparked occasionally, showing signs of life in the dying vessel. "Captain," Rix called from the communication station. "I found something." The ship's black box recorder. "It is still functional." Vorn moved to examine it. The device was heavily armored, protected behind multiple layers of shielding. The humans clearly wanted this data to survive even if everything else was destroyed. "Can you access it?" Vorn asked. "Yes, but it will take time to translate their language," Rix replied. He connected his portable terminal to the black box. Data began flowing across his screen. "Do it," Vorn ordered. "I want to know what happened here. I want to know what kind of enemy could do this to such a powerful vessel." Rix worked in silence for several minutes. Then his expression changed. His skin paled to a lighter shade of blue. "Sir," he said quietly, "you need to see this. The logs, they tell a very different story than we thought." Vorn looked at the dead humans around him, still at their posts after days of death. He felt that chill again, deeper this time. "Show me," he said. Something told him he would not like what he was about to learn. The structure engineer Dax moved through the lower decks of the human battleship, his scanner working constantly. Every reading made him more confused. Nothing about this ship made sense from an engineering perspective. "Captain Vorn," he called over the communication link. You must come see this. The whole structure is beyond unusual. Vorn left Rix working on the black box translations and made his way down to the engineering section. He found Dax standing next to a massive wall panel, his scanner pressed against the metal. What did you find? Vorn asked. Dax gestured at the hull. This outer armor is 30 centimeters thick. That alone is 3 times our military standard. But look here. He pulled up a diagram on his scanner. There are 7 distinct layers. Each one is a different metal compound. Titanium, steel, some kind of ceramic composite, then more steel. 7 layers? Vorn repeated. That seems excessive. Excessive is an understatement, Dax replied. This is paranoid design. Each layer is designed to stop a different type of weapon. Energy weapons, kinetic rounds, explosive penetrators, heat, radiation. The humans built this ship expecting it to be hit by everything at once. Vorn studied the wall with new understanding. They built it to survive. Not just survive, sir. Look at this. Dax led him deeper into the engineering bay. They passed massive pipes and conduits, all labeled in human writing. Every critical system has a backup. Then that backup has another backup. Life support has 4 redundant lines. Power distribution has 6 separate networks. If one system fails, another takes over automatically. That is standard military practice, Vorn said. Yes, but humans take it further. Dax pointed to a control panel. See this? Manual override controls. If all the automated systems fail, the crew can operate the ship by hand. Literally by hand, using mechanical levers and wheels. I found manual pumps for cooling systems, hand cranks for door operations, even mechanical targeting for weapons. Vorn felt that chill again. They plan for total system failure. They expect it, Dax corrected. Human ships are designed assuming everything will break. And when it does, the crew keeps fighting anyway. A voice crackled over the communication link. It was Rix. Captain, I have translated the first log entries. You need to hear this. Vorn and Dax made their way back to the bridge. Rix had set up his equipment at the communication station, which was one of the few consoles still receiving partial power. Play it, Vorn ordered. The speakers came to life with a human voice. It was rough, tired, but steady. This is Commander Cole of the Titan's Fury. Day 1 of engagement. We have encountered a hostile fleet in Sector 7. Count is approximately 50 vessels. We are alone. Reinforcements are 9 days away. 50 vessels. Vorn's blood ran cold. The human ship had faced 50 enemy warships alone. Initiating defensive formation. The recording continued. All crew to battle stations. Engineering, give me everything the reactor can handle. Weapons, target their lead ships. We need to make them hesitate. Another voice came through, younger and nervous. Sir, we are heavily outnumbered. Should we retreat? Negative, Commander Cole replied calmly. Our orders are to hold this sector. We have colonists on the nearby planet. If we run, those 50 ships will be in orbit above innocent people within 3 hours. We hold the line here. The recording jumped ahead. Timestamps showed it was now 12 hours later. Hull breaches on decks 4 through 7, sealing bulkheads. We have lost life support in sections B and C. Crew is switching to emergency suits. Casualty count is at 18 dead, 34 wounded. But we are still in this fight. Enemy count is down to 43 ships. Keep firing. Vorn looked at the dead humans around him with new respect. They had known they would die. They chose to die anyway. The recording continued. Day 2. We are still here. The enemy is trying to flank us, but we are rotating the ship to keep our heavy armor facing their main guns. Engineering reports main power at 60%. Weapons are operating on backup generators. We have enough ammunition for maybe 30 more hours of continuous fire. Dax spoke quietly. They fought for days. Day 3, the recording said. Commander Cole's voice was hoarse now, strained. Life support has completely failed. The crew is operating in suits. We are down to emergency oxygen reserves. Medical bay is overwhelmed. But we are holding. Enemy count is now 31 ships. They are retreating. We won. The recording grew quiet, except for labored breathing. Then Commander Cole spoke again, each word careful and precise. Final log entry. Mission accomplished. We held the sector. The colonists are safe. Enemy fleet is withdrawing. Our ship is dying, but she did her job. She held the line when it mattered. To whoever finds this recording, tell Earth Command that the Titan's Fury and her crew gave them hell. Tell them we did not retreat. Tell them we held. The recording ended. Silence filled the bridge. Vorn looked around at the dead crew still at their stations. They had won. This broken, destroyed, dead ship floating in the void had won against impossible odds. "Sir?" Rick said softly. "There is more." According to the battle logs, the Titan's fury destroyed 31 enemy vessels before the fleet retreated. 31, Vorn whispered. "Out of 50, yes, sir. The humans call this a defensive victory." Dax's voice was shaking slightly. "Captain, I found something else in the engineering database. This ship, the Titan's Fury, it was commissioned 15 years ago. According to human military records, it is considered outdated. It was scheduled for decommission next year." Vorn stared at him. "This is an old ship?" "Yes, sir. The humans have much newer battleships in service now." Vorn sat down heavily in the captain's chair, next to the body of Commander Cole. He looked at the shattered view screen, the burned consoles, the scarred walls. This ancient, dying ship had fought 50 enemies and won. What could a new human battleship do? "Continue the investigation," Vorn said quietly. "I want to know everything about this vessel. Everything about how humans fight. High Command needs to understand what we are dealing with." He looked at Commander Cole's peaceful face. The human had died knowing his crew succeeded. "They don't build ships to win battles," Vorn said. "They build ships to never surrender." The weapons analyst Kren stood in the main armory of the Titan's Fury, surrounded by destruction. Burnt metal, shattered equipment, and empty ammunition containers littered the floor. His scanner was working overtime trying to catalog everything he saw. "This makes no sense," he muttered to himself. Captain Vorn entered the armory, ducking under a collapsed support beam. "What have you found?" Kren gestured broadly at the weapons racks. "Captain, the humans are using technology that is centuries old by our standards. Look at this." He pointed to a massive gun barrel mounted on a rotating turret. "This is a railgun. It uses magnetic acceleration to fire solid metal projectiles. We stopped using these weapons 400 years ago." "Why would they still use them?" Vorn asked. "That is what confuses me," Kren replied. He pulled up data on his scanner. "These slugs are simple metal cylinders, iron and tungsten alloy, but they are fired at such extreme velocity that they hit with tremendous force. The kinetic energy alone can punch through any shield we have." Vorn examined the weapon carefully. "Energy weapons cannot be stopped?" "Energy weapons can be deflected, absorbed, or dispersed," Kren explained. "Our shields are designed for that. But a solid chunk of metal traveling at 15 kilometers per second, there is no shield for that. You either have thick armor or you die. The humans understand this." He led Vorn to another section of the armory. Here, missiles of various sizes were stored in launch tubes. Many tubes were empty now, fired during the battle. "Look at this variety," Kren said, pointing to different missile types. "This one uses chemical explosives. This one is nuclear. This one is antimatter. And this one appears to be some kind of biological weapon, though I hope it was never used." "They carry all of these at once?" Vorn asked, disturbed. "Yes. We use clean energy weapons because they are efficient and precise. Humans use whatever works. If energy weapons fail, they use missiles. If missiles fail, they use railguns. If railguns fail, they have emergency weapon lockers with chemical firearms for crew defense. They prepare for every possible scenario." Kren accessed a nearby terminal that still had backup power. "I found their weapons training database. Every crew member on this ship went through constant drills. They practiced weapon operations 8 hours per week, even during peaceful voyages. Every person could operate every weapon system." "Cross-training," Vorn said. "Complete cross-training," Kren corrected. The cook could fire the main cannons if needed. The medical officer could launch missiles. There was no specialization in emergency situations. Everyone was a weapons operator first, specialist second. Tech Officer Rix's voice came over the communication link. "Captain, I have more log entries translated." "You should hear these." Vorn tapped his communicator. "Play them." A new human voice came through, female and sharp with command authority. "This is Admiral Brooks to all fleet vessels. Tactical update on engagement doctrine. Remember, we do not fire to destroy. We fire to disable. Target enemy engines and life support first. Dead enemies teach nothing. Captured enemies teach us how to fight them better next time." Vorn and Kren exchanged glances. The humans fought to capture, not kill. Another recording played. "Weapons Team 4, good shooting on that last volley. You hit their reactor containment without breaching it. They are dead in the water but alive. Recovery teams will collect the survivors for intelligence purposes. This is how we win wars, people. Not just battles, but wars." Kren spoke quietly. They think long-term. Every engagement is part of a larger strategy. The recordings continued. Vorn heard battle chatter between human crew members during the fight. Their voices were calm, professional, almost casual as they coordinated weapons fire against overwhelming odds. Missile Team 2, I need you to paint the target at bearing 347. Railgun Team 5, wait for the missiles to hit, then follow up with armor-piercing rounds. Let's cut that cruiser in half. Copy that. Missiles away. Impact in 10 seconds. Good kill. That is number 12. 28 more to go, people. Stay sharp. Kren felt a strange emotion building in his chest. Was it fear? Respect? Both? Captain, he said slowly. These humans fought 50 ships for 3 days. But they were counting. They knew exactly how many enemies remained. They were tracking each kill, planning their next moves. This was not desperate survival. This was calculated warfare. Vorn nodded grimly. What else did you find? Kren pulled up a schematic on his scanner. The ship has a self-destruct system. Multiple fusion warheads placed throughout the critical sections. If the enemy tries to board and capture the ship, the captain can detonate them all. The explosion would destroy everything within 1,000 kilometers. That is a standard safety measure, Vorn said. Yes, but look at this. Kren highlighted part of the schematic. The self-destruct can be set to delayed detonation. The crew can evacuate, leave the ship as bait, and when the enemy comes to investigate, he made an explosion gesture with his hands. They turn their own dying ships into traps, Vorn said quietly. Exactly. And according to these logs, Commander Cole considered using it. He decided against it only because he wanted the ship's data to reach human command. He chose information over one last kill. Vorn looked around the destroyed armory. Weapons that mixed ancient and modern technology. Tactics that prioritized long-term victory over immediate success. Crews that trained constantly, preparing for the worst. Kren, in your analysis, how would our weapons compare to human weapons? Kren was quiet for a long moment. Captain, our weapons are more advanced technologically. Our energy cannons are more efficient. Our targeting systems are more accurate. But humans use their weapons differently. They combine multiple weapon types, attack from multiple angles, and adapt constantly. In a straight fight, our technology might be superior. But humans do not fight straight fights. What do you mean? I reviewed the battle logs in detail, Kren explained. The humans did not stay still and trade shots with the enemy. They moved constantly, used the planet's gravity well for acceleration, hid in asteroid fields, fired from unexpected angles. They used the environment as a weapon. They used their own damage sections as decoys, making the enemy think they were more hurt than they were. They fought smart. Vorn accessed his own communicator. All teams, complete your investigations quickly. I want to leave this ship within 6 hours. Sir? Kren asked, confused. The more I learn about humans, the more I understand we should not be on one of their warships without permission, Vorn said. Even a dead one. I keep feeling like we are being watched. Kren looked around nervously. The empty weapons racks, the silent corridors, the dead crew members still at their posts. The ship felt like a tomb, but also like something more. Like a memorial. Like a warning. Sir, there is one more thing, Kren said. He pulled up an image on his scanner. I found this carved into the main gun barrel. Human writing. Vorn looked at the translation. Simple words cut deep into the metal. To those who threaten Earth, we are always ready. Vorn stared at those words for a long time. The crew doctor. Lyra worked carefully in the medical bay of the Titan's Fury. Her instrument scanned each body, recording data that made her more disturbed with every reading. Captain Vorn, she called over the communication link. I need you in medical immediately. What I'm finding here is deeply troubling. Vorn arrived to find Lyra standing over a human body on an examination table. The dead man's uniform was torn and burned. His chest showed signs of severe trauma. What did you discover? Vorn asked. Lyra pointed to her scanner readings. This crew member, his name was Lieutenant Kane, according to his identification tags. He sustained 3 broken ribs, a collapsed lung, and severe internal bleeding. Look at the timeline. She highlighted the data. These injuries occurred 48 hours before his death. 48 hours, Vorn repeated. He fought for 2 days with a collapsed lung? Not just fought. He worked. Lyra pulled up medical records from the ship's database. He came to Medical Bay, received basic treatment, then returned to his station. The medical officer gave him pain suppressors and a breathing assist device. That is all. No surgery, no extended recovery. He went back to work immediately. She moved to another body. This one had a fractured arm. It was set with a quick seal cast and she returned to duty within an hour. This one suffered radiation exposure that should have required weeks of treatment. He received anti-radiation medication and went back to engineering. Every single crew member here prioritized the ship over their own health. Vorn examined the medical bay itself. The equipment was sophisticated but designed for speed, not comfort. Everything was about getting wounded crew members back into action as quickly as possible. Look at their medical supplies, Lyra continued. She opened storage cabinets filled with medications, pain suppressors, stimulants, quick-heal compounds, blood-clotting agents. Everything is designed to keep soldiers fighting. We use medical technology to heal and comfort. Humans use it to maintain combat readiness. They are warriors, Vorn said quietly. They are more than that. Lyra accessed a computer terminal. I found medical evaluations for the crew. Every person on this ship passed extreme physical and mental tests. They were trained to function under conditions that would kill most species. Reduced oxygen, high radiation, extreme temperatures. Look at this training requirement. Every crew member had to be able to work in zero gravity while wearing a damaged spacesuit with limited oxygen for up to 6 hours. Vorn felt cold. They train for the worst possible scenarios. They expect them, Lyra corrected. And from these bodies I can see their training worked. These humans died, but they died at their stations performing their duties until the very end. Tech Officer Rix's voice came over the communicator. Captain, I have found personal logs from several crew members. I think you should hear these. Play them, Vorn ordered. A young human voice came through the speakers. Male nervous but steady. Personal log, day 2 of the battle. This is Ensign Tom. I know we probably will not make it out of this. The odds are not good. But I want my family to know I am not scared. Well, maybe a little scared. But mainly I am proud. Proud to serve with this crew. Proud to protect the colonists who are depending on us. If you are hearing this, Mom and Dad, it means I did my job. Tell little brother I love him. Tell him his big brother held the line. Another voice, female and older. This is Officer Lisa, Weapons Team 6. We just destroyed our 20th enemy ship. The captain says we are making history. 50 against 1 and we are winning. My hands hurt from loading ammunition. My ears are ringing from the gun blasts. But I am smiling. We are actually going to do this. We are going to hold them off. A third voice, tired and hoarse. Personal log, final entry. This is Engineer Mark. The ship is dying. We all know it. But we held. 3 days against impossible odds, and we held. Someone once asked me why I joined the military. I said it was to protect people. Today I protected an entire colony. Millions of people are alive because we refused to run. That is enough. That is more than enough. The recordings continued. Message after message from crew members who knew they were going to die. But there was no panic in their voices. No despair. Only determination and strange pride in their accomplishment. One recording made Vorn's chest tighten. A woman's voice, soft and gentle despite the battle sounds in the background. This is Dr. Emma. I am recording this from Medical Bay. I have 19 wounded crew members here. I cannot save them all. We do not have the supplies. But they are not asking to be saved. They are asking me to patch them up enough to return to their stations. One man with a piece of shrapnel in his leg begged me to let him go back to weapons. He said his team needed him. I let him go. What else could I do? These people are not soldiers. They are something more. Lyra spoke quietly. I have examined the brain chemistry of these bodies. Even in death, I can detect traces of endorphins, adrenaline, and other compounds. These humans were not just fighting. They were bonding. Combat brought them together as a unit. We do not understand this, Vorn said. When my people face overwhelming odds, we scatter. We save ourselves. It is logical. Humans do not scatter, Lyra said. They form a wall. They stand together, and apparently they laugh while doing it. She played another recording. This one had multiple voices, human crew members talking during a brief pause in the battle. Hey Tom, you owe me 20 credits. I said we would get to 20 kills before day 3. The battle is not over yet. We might hit 30. You really think so? Sure, this crew can do anything. We already did the impossible. What is 10 more enemy ships? They were laughing. Actually laughing while their ship was dying around them. Vorn looked at Lieutenant Kane's body on the examination table. The man had fought for 2 days with a collapsed lung. He had died at his weapons station, still firing at the enemy. These humans, Vorn said slowly, they do not fight to survive. They fight to win, even if winning costs them everything. Yes, Lyra agreed, and that is what terrifies me. They accept death as an acceptable price for victory. What kind of species thinks that way? Vorn had no answer. He looked around the medical bay at all the bodies, all the brave humans who had chosen duty over survival. Finish your examination, he said finally. We need to leave soon. I need to report this to High Command immediately. As he left the medical bay, Vorn passed a wall display showing the ship's motto. Simple human words that now carried terrible meaning. We do not retreat. We reload. He understood now. It was not just a motto. It was a promise. The Terror Captain Vorn sat in his command chair aboard his research vessel. They had left the Titan's Fury 3 hours ago, but he could not stop thinking about what they had found. His crew was silent, processing everything they had witnessed. Rix, Vorn said, compile the complete report. All data, all recordings, everything. I need to present this to High Command within the hour. Already done, sir, Rix replied. I have organized it by category. Structure, weapons, crew psychology, battle tactics. It is comprehensive. Vorn took a deep breath. Open a priority channel to High Command. Emergency classification. The main view screen activated. 5 members of the Galactic Union High Command appeared, their faces showing irritation at being disturbed. Captain Vorn, said Council Leader Train. This had better be important. We are in the middle of trade negotiations. Respectfully, sir, nothing is more important than what I am about to show you, Vorn said. He uploaded his report. 3 days ago, we discovered a human battleship. What we found aboard that vessel changes everything we thought we knew about humanity. For the next 20 minutes, Vorn presented his findings. He showed them the ship's structure, the redundant systems, the mix of primitive and advanced weapons. He played the battle recordings. He showed them the bodies of crew members who fought for days with fatal injuries. The council members' expressions changed from irritation to concern to outright fear. 50 ships. Council Leader Train said quietly. 1 human vessel held off 50 enemy ships for 3 days. And 1, sir, Vorn added. They destroyed 31 enemy vessels before the fleet retreated. The colonists they were protecting survived. What class of ship was this? Asked Council Member Drex. Their newest battleship. A flagship? Vorn felt his throat tighten. That is the disturbing part, sir. According to human military records, the Titan's Fury was commissioned 15 years ago. It is considered outdated by human standards. It was scheduled for decommission next year. Silence filled the channel. The council members stared at him in disbelief. Outdated? Train repeated. Yes, sir. Vorn pulled up additional data. I accessed human military databases. Their public records, recruitment materials, and historical files. The information there is even more troubling. He displayed images of newer human warships, massive vessels that made the Titan's Fury look small, sleek designs with weapon arrays that covered every surface. These are their current frontline battleships, Vorn explained. Twice as large, 4 times the weapon capacity, faster, better shielded, with crews that have even more advanced training. Council member Vara spoke, her voice shaking. If their old ship could do what you described, what could a new one do? I do not want to find out, Vorn said honestly. Rick stepped forward. Sirs, there is more. I found something in the final log entries. The Titan's Fury was not a frontline combat vessel. It was a training ship. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Training, Train whispered. Yes, sir, Rix confirmed. The crew was primarily recent graduates from human military academies. This was their first real combat assignment. They were learning, gaining experience, and they still managed to defeat a fleet of 50 vessels. Vorn pulled up the final recording from Commander Cole. Sirs, you need to hear this. This is the human captain's last message to Earth Command. Commander Cole's tired voice filled the council chamber. Earth Command, this is Commander Cole, final transmission. Engagement successful. Enemy fleet retreated after sustaining heavy losses. Our mission was to hold the sector for 9 days until reinforcements arrived. We held for 3 days before the enemy withdrew. Ship is lost but objective achieved. The colony is safe. Enemy forces will think twice before attacking human territory again. Titan's Fury signing off. We gave them hell. There was pride in that dying man's voice. Pride in his crew, pride in his sacrifice. Vorn spoke carefully. Sirs, I have studied human history files. They have been at war for most of their existence. Not just one war, but constant warfare. Thousands of years of conflict. They have been fighting each other since before they even left their home planet. War is not something they prepare for. It is their natural state. He pulled up more data. Every human child learns basic combat skills in their schools. It is part of their education system. Physical fitness, strategy, survival techniques. They teach warfare to children the way we teach mathematics. Councilmember Drex leaned forward. What are you saying, Captain? I am saying that humanity is a warrior species in the truest sense, Vorn replied. They have evolved through constant conflict. They do not just accept casualties in war. They expect them. They plan for them. They are willing to die for their objectives, and they consider that sacrifice honorable. Train spoke slowly. Captain Vorn, what is your recommendation? Vorn straightened in his chair. High Command, I strongly recommend we never, under any circumstances, engage humanity in military conflict. We must pursue diplomatic relations immediately. We must ensure they see us as friends, not threats. You are suggesting we fear them, Vara said. I am suggesting we respect them, Vorn corrected. And yes, fear them. The Titan's fury was outdated, crude by trainees, and it still accomplished what should have been impossible. Their actual military capabilities are beyond our understanding. More importantly, their psychology is beyond our understanding. They do not think like us. They do not fight like us. He gestured to the image of the destroyed battleship still on screen. That ship was a tomb. Every human aboard knew they would die. They chose to die anyway. They chose duty over survival. What kind of enemy can you defeat when death does not stop them? When their ships are designed to keep fighting even after the crew is dead? When every sailor is willing to trade their life for victory? The council chamber was silent for a long moment. Finally, Train spoke. Initiate immediate diplomatic contact with Earth. Highest priority. Offer trade agreements, cultural exchanges, anything they want. Captain Vorn, you are hereby ordered to deliver your complete report to our diplomatic corps. They need to understand what we are dealing with. Yes, sir, Vorn replied. And Captain, Train added quietly, never speak of this publicly. If our people knew how dangerous humans truly are, it would cause panic. Let them think humans are just another species. Let them think we are being friendly out of kindness, not fear. The channel closed. Vorn sat back in his chair, exhausted. Rix approached. Sir, did we do the right thing? Warning them about humanity? Vorn looked at the image of the Titan's fury one last time before closing the file. The broken, scarred, magnificent ship that had held the line against impossible odds. Humans call it a battleship. Vorn said softly, now I understand. It is not just a description. It is a promise. A warning. That ship, even dead and drifting, still delivers its message. It says, this is what happens when you threaten humanity. This is the price we are willing to pay. This is how far we will go. He looked at Rix. We did the right thing, because the alternative is extinction, the end.